Greetings and welcome back to the Skunts. Who listens to Jagdeo's 2.5 hour long press conferences? Me neither. Which is why you may have missed the moment when Jagdeo admitted that the United States of America interfered in Guyana's politics in 1955, which destabilized their country and had lasting impacts that are still affecting us today in terms of race hate. We will take a closer look after the intro. Stay tuned.
Guyana turn up the bass and treble. Send off for them attack, but them not ready for the rebel. Man a real rude boy and them can dip on my level. When me come through, best believe me have my eyes special.
Before we get started, y'all know I just feed on comments and like. So feed me with a "this one more people" or "what skunty" or even a "wow." I could settle for a "wow." Can I get a "wow"? Anyways, back to the sauce. I dropped asleep on Jagdeo's press conference the other day and woke up almost to the end, only to hear Jagdeo spilling the juice on the origins of racial division in Guyana. You see, a lot of people don't know Guyanese history, but Lyndon Forbes Burnham was a founding member of the PPP. If you knew this, type facts in the comments. The PPP then split into two factions, one which was led by Burnham and became the PNC, and the other was led by Jagan. Hear this piece of songbite on how the US got involved in this.
You know, I saw them very upset that I went to lay a wreath by Nkrumah. Everybody, especially the young people in this country, must know what Nkrumah meant to the world at that time that was struggling to be independent. He was a source of inspiration to many persons, including people here and the party, the People's Progressive Party, which held him in very high regard. And so after they split in 1955 in the party, Dr. Jagan, he invited both Dr. Jagan and Burnham to convene a meeting in New York to try to see if they couldn't engage the two sides. And the foreign minister got the Commonwealth to send someone down to Guyana who was also confident of Nkrumah. The Commonwealth came here, they had a huge meeting with both sides for several days, and they reached an agreement. That is the reunification back of the party that was split. And then the team left, and then Burnham repudiated the agreement. So she was asking me that the split in 1955 in the PPP, that it took place on a racial basis. And I said to her, no, that's not true, because it had to do more. Burnham wanted more leadership position. And if you look at the people who left with Burnham, you had several Indo-Guyanese leaders in the PPP who left with Burnham, and several Afro-Guyanese leaders, including UC Guyana, who stayed with Chetty Jagan. It was not a split along racial lines in 1955. But the reason the party could not come together and unified and prevent the problems of the 60s was largely two factors. One was that the Kennedy and the others had made it clear to the UK that the PPP should not lead Guyana to independence, because Chetty Jagan he had a very strong nationalistic agenda, and they thought that Guyana might become the second Cuba in the hemisphere. And that was one of the reasons why they destabilized the country, so as to prevent that happening, and two, why they got Venezuela to reopen the border case. That was the first reason. And the second one could be found in the source documents for the Committee 303. If you go online now and type in Committee 303 Guyana, you will see that the CIA had many covert operations around the world with a lot of fallout. And the United States then set up a group called the 303 Committee to manage the covert operations of the CIA from 1964, and it was disbanded in 1970. So in 1969, based on the minutes released now from that committee, which is readily available to all Guyanese, Burnham, who had already been the Prime Minister of Guyana, because in 1966 we became independent, applied to the CIA for $10,000 a month. He asked them for $10,000, and the committee met in 1969, and they gave him $5,000 a month. And they said he had already been receiving funding for a very long period. And this funding lasted until after Guyana became a republic and Burnham became president. I think it went up to 1971. So if he was receiving money from the CIA, which we know now, they couldn't reach an agreement to unify the parties back, because the whole objective was destabilization and not having Chedi as part of the equation. And you can easily go and read this yourself. Just read it yourself. Go online and look at it. Check this 303 committee and what it was set up for. It was to run CIA covert operations around the world. And so Guyanese need to know our history too, but they didn't say anything about that. Because imagine a sitting president receiving money from the CIA. And we haven't come to grips with that period in our history, the period that generated enough problems. And that is what it was the basis for the division of our people. The strifes that were fomented in that period, that were externally driven, aided by many people here. And I think we need to come to grips with that if we want to really move forward.
That was an interesting bit. What has me thinking now though, is back then, Burnham the collecting a little fine blight from the US easy. Now that the stakes are higher, how much is the US paying to advance its geopolitical agenda, and to whom? These are the types of questions that nobody does be asking. In the meanwhile, we should also be asking ourselves, why do we love each other for 4 years, then turn around and hate we Mati Guyanese on the election year? Wake up, people. Anyways, that's enough skunt for today. My name is Mudwata. Boom out!
Hold up.